Okay, hi, it's John Lang here, the CEO of the Workplace Health Association of Australia, and I have with me Katrina Walton, the Director of Wellness Designs. And I'm very pleased to be giving this presentation with Katrina today to launch the WellnessWise Practitioner Training Program. WAR, as many of you would know, is the peak body representing the interests of the workplace health providers, and we've had a lot to do with standards and accreditation and best practice guidelines and advocacy roles in terms of the workplace as a setting for preventative health activities. And for a decade now we've been threatening to develop a practitioner training course, and I'm ecstatic to be able to tell you that now the job is complete, and thanks to Katrina we now will be launching this program rolling around the country over the next 3 to 4 months, and in fact over the next 3 to 4 years. Having a training program that runs for 2 days that's based firmly around our own WAR best practice guidelines. As you can see from our recently updated best practice guidelines, we added in 3 new areas to this from the original document from 2008-9, and particularly the OH&S integration piece, which is becoming very important as a lot of OH&S providers integrate wellness into their programs. Technology and online programs and content, we have a bit to say about that in terms of innovative programs now and in the future. And we've clarified a lot of the ROI related assumptions and calculations, and indeed the whole ROI thing has been taken to a new level with our ROI white paper. Yeah, we believe the whole ROI argument can be very important for many organisations for the program sustainability. The hard-nosed bean counters probably won't continue to allow investment in this stuff if we can't show some reasonable outcomes. So that's factored into our best practice guidelines and certainly as part of the 2-day training program. So with that background, I'd like to hand over to Katrina, who'll take you through the program and all its glory and what you're likely to receive over the 2 days. So Katrina, how are you?
I'm great, John, and thanks for setting the scene so well. I'll just show my screen. So I think as a lot on the webinar, I'm sure would appreciate, John, that increasingly workplaces are recognising that healthy employees do equal a healthy organisation and are investing in the health and wellness of their greatest asset, which is certainly their people. However, as we both know, and again I'm sure many on this webinar appreciate, that developing a targeted health and wellness strategy can be a complex and a time-consuming task. And what we find is that many organisations don't know where to start, or even worse, they adopt a scattergun or a tick-the-box approach. And furthermore, for those individuals who are often given the task of driving the health and wellness agenda within their organisations, often they're frustrated by not having the necessary skills, the experience, the support, by struggling to get that buy-in and engagement from senior stakeholders and employees, and often putting in lots of effort and just not getting the desired outcome. And I think just simply they often just feel very overwhelmed. So whilst the WAR best practice guidelines have provided really valuable guidance for literally thousands of people over the past 6 to 7 years, I think people are really looking and seeking more from their skills and training. So to help address these challenges, we're very proud to be teaming up with WAR to launch a new training course for those that are working in the workplace health and wellness field. And this 2-day course will support Australian organisations in their quest towards creating a healthy and a thriving workplace. And what it'll do is we'll delve very deeply into not only the theory, but more importantly the practice of designing, implementing and evaluating a best practice health and wellness strategy, which will hopefully ultimately help Australian workplaces to reduce the amount of time, the resources and money that often are wasted, and really ensure that the health and wellness strategy hits the mark, and that they're building that internal capacity to really drive that health and wellness agenda internally. I think most importantly, increasing the likelihood that the strategy is actually going to stick. So you might ask, I guess, why do we need a course of this nature? And in essence, without educating and empowering and building the capacity of the people often responsible in-house and other associated stakeholders as well to really initiate and drive the agenda in partnership with other stakeholders, the likelihood of that strategy being successful or sustainable or building that culture is often considerably lower. And this was highlighted in a recent study, a benchmarking study that was done by BUPA, in which they surveyed Australian workplaces across Australia that were investing, and what they found is that Australian employers were becoming much more structured in their approach to work health. And however, in saying that, there was a recognition that the key to continued success for these organisations was to really ensure that they were dedicating the necessary human and financial resources to effectively implement and evaluate that strategy. So who will benefit from the course? So essentially a real myriad of people from different backgrounds and also experiences in workplace health and wellness. So obviously targeting practitioners themselves who may already be working within those roles, whether it be in-house or otherwise. Also human resource practitioners and health and safety practitioners and the like, often who are armed and tasked with overseeing such strategies, but again may not have the formal background or experience. Other health professionals, again, who have involvement in delivering such programs, government representatives or consultants, and the list goes on. So again, really anyone who's seeking training and certification in this space. And certainly, you know, a nationally recognised program such as this, whilst there's been some examples of certification programs in North America and Europe and a few short workshops and online programs across different states in Australia, currently there's actually no national qualification that exists within Australia. So most existing training either leaves participants really overwhelmed at the myriad of options and complexity involved, or leaves them seeking more. So this course will hopefully, you know, support some of these groups in really filling the huge void that currently exists in this area in Australia. So what does the course cover? So really down to the nuts and bolts. So it'll start with an initial 2-day course, which will firstly delve into the business case, so the what and why for investing in health wellness within the workplace, and most critically how to really convince the C-suite and demonstrate that business case initially, but also ensure that support ongoing. Also looking at how to assess the needs and priorities for that strategy to ensure that where people are spending their precious time, money and resources is really being injected in the right place. And on the back of that, depending on what falls out of that needs assessment, how to develop a targeted strategy which will achieve those goals. Really how to then create a ripple effect and how to really build that wellness culture over time at all levels of the organisation, again to really ensure that not only that strategy sticks, but to ensure it's sustainable and very much embedded into the fabric of the organisation. And a critical part of that is how to really engage key stakeholders within the organisation and employees to really drive that agenda. We also talk a bit about managing the day-to-day tasks, so once the rubber hits the road on the ground, so looking at things like legal considerations around how to choose a suitable provider, about budget management, around things like data management and considerations around. And as I'm sure many on the end of the webinar are aware, the importance of monitoring and evaluation, and often a very overlooked step. And that same benchmarking survey that I mentioned previously that was undertaken by BUPA indicated that only 12% of organisations actually currently measure the return on investment of their strategy. So it's very much looking at the end in mind as part of that planning too, and how to really demonstrate the impact to keep that strategy going. And keeping the wellness flame burning, we've spoken a bit about that already, about how to really sustain it ongoing, and most importantly, self-care and personal development. I think certainly it's really important for people working in such roles that they're not only role modelling behaviours, but also obviously nurturing their own wellness. And the course doesn't stop there. I'm sure many of us have been to courses where we walked out of a 2-day course such as this being very motivated and inspired and then get back to the reality of our busy day-to-day. So what we've tried to do is build in a 12-month support package which will really help embed a lot of the learnings once people get back to the workplace and provide that not only ongoing continuing education but also peer support and networking opportunities as well. So 6 weeks post the course there'll be a follow-up mentoring session which will again be another opportunity for participants to touch base with our facilitators and also to provide them with any support around the assessment component. The online portal will be a real gateway and hub which will house a whole series of resources and tools which again when participants are at a point when they're ready to use some of those will be a great reference. There'll be an online community which is actually a secure private Facebook site which again will encourage continuation of that conversation post the course, not only from those that were in the direct course but also those completing courses around Australia. We've also, in cooperation with Wawa, have mapped out a great webinar series with some real thought leaders, both nationally and internationally, of which our participants will have exclusive access to those over the 12-month period. And also, we're very pleased to offer a discounted pricing structure for not only those that are Workplace Health Association of Australia members, but also the Workplace Health Promotion Network, who are a great supporter of this program as well. So that's a little preview of what the course includes, and I guess what we see as some of the key features of the program is certainly trying to really provide that Australian perspective and to really showcase what's being done well and some thought leadership happening within Australia. Industry experts, our facilitators, have over 20 years experience delivering multi-award winning programs both nationally and internationally across a range of industries, and we also draw on expert insights from our advisory group who are a range of professionals who are thought leaders in their respective areas of wellbeing that have provided input into the course development to ensure that it is really leading edge. As mentioned, we've got lots of practical framework and tools. We've tried to really provide best-of-breed tools that, again, participants can look to guide them in their journey. Also trying to showcase innovative practice, again, within Australia. So we'll be showcasing some companies that are doing aspects of their program or their entire program and doing it very well. Multimodal delivery, so we won't be sitting just for 2 days listening to facilitators right along. We're trying to make it as interactive as possible, and that will continue post the course as well with a lot of the different support mechanisms. I've already touched on the webinar series that will be provided as part of the continuous education, and also I've spoken to already things like the peer support and mentoring and coaching opportunities as well. And as far as the certification and accreditation, so participants will walk away not only as a WA certified practitioner, which is going to look great on their CV and their LinkedIn profile, from a career, I guess, progression point of view as well, but also they have the opportunity to work towards a national unit of competency in partnership with our RTO as well. So that's a little, I guess, snapshot of some of what we believe are some of the unique features of this course. So on to the course dates. So we're doing a bit of a national roadshow kick-starting in Sydney on the 17th and 18th of May, and we're also just in the process of confirming a course for Hobart as well. So if you can just keep an eye on our website for further course dates and further times, and also looking to do some additional courses towards the end of the year. And again, keep an eye on our website for further details. And also just to put this in a frame as well, I guess this course forms a flagship program of our broader WellnessWise Academy, which was developed in recognition of the need to really build the in-house capacity at all levels of the organisation to develop an employee wellness strategy that works. So that includes dedicated training also for WellnessWise leaders and also for WellnessWise champions, which is certainly particularly good for those larger organisations or those that might have multiple sites where they might have a coordinator in a central role, but they're also needing a wellness army, so to speak, to really drive that health and wellness message at a local level. So if you're interested in finding more, again, just drop into our website. So I guess as far as the ultimate result, so as I hope you'd appreciate just from the overview we've given you today, so what's in it for the individual? Well, hopefully they're going to walk away very much educated, empowered and inspired, but also with strong networks and also support to really support them on their wellness-wise journey. And as we've already mentioned, also walking away with a nationally recognised qualification and certification as a WA practitioner as well. So certainly from a career enhancement point of view, lots of benefits to be gained there. And for the organisation, what's in it for them? Well, building that internal capacity, as we've already mentioned, to develop a best practice program and really ensure they get the best spend for their wellness buck. And also it's a great opportunity for organisations to invest in some of their key personnel and really provide them with a sense of personal and professional fulfillment as well. And ultimately, give them as an organisation a competitive edge through being an employer of choice and reducing organisational risk, workplace injury, etc. And I guess for the industry more broadly, and John, this is something you might want to talk to finish up, I guess providing, a real opportunity for us to add a lot more standardisation and to really upskill and build the capacity of those working in the field. So on that note, I might hand over to John just to wrap things up. And if you are ready to become more wellness-wise, we encourage you to stop by our website for the upcoming course dates, locations, or to register. Thanks very much, John.
Thank you, Katrina. That's fantastic. Look, before I wrap up, we do have a question coming from one of the participants, Helena, obviously in relation to using their own workplace as a case study in the 2-day program. The question is, what if I don't have a workplace? Can they still participate?
Yes, it's a really good question, so thanks Helena. So as far as the course assessment component, what we're trying to do is make it obviously as applied as possible for those that might be working within such roles already within workplaces or with a view to, but we're also mindful there will be some participants coming along that mightn't be attached to a workplace per se. So what we will have available there, John, is we'll have some case study examples or scenarios that they'll be able to use as a working example throughout the course, so they'll still be able to apply a lot of those learnings.
Excellent. Okay, well, look, by way of wrap up, I've been in corporate wellness now for a tad over 30 years. I still get a shock every time I say that. And 30 years of trial and error when this sort of program didn't exist. And I think back to all the errors I could have avoided had I known some of this stuff. But look, there is nothing like this in the marketplace. It's all about the essentially the art and science of health promotion. And as a scientist, I obviously love the science part of it, but the art part is, how you take the theory and make it work in the real world in a practical sense. We have seen over the past few decades many very well-intentioned, HR managers and OH&S managers, they dabble in the wellness space, not really having a background or experience in it, and there has been a lot of wastage, and it's not just limited to them. It happens at even state and federal government level. This is one program that I think will really set the record straight into what works, what doesn't, and why, and put the whole value proposition and ROI argument firmly around it. So again, Katrina, thanks for all your hard work in putting this program together, and the support from WA. Hopefully we'll see this the training program of choice in this industry for many years to come. So thank you.
Great.